Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the JaxCast. This is episode 4. Once again, in this podcast, I have NightWolf's Den. Say hi.
Hello.
And today, I know I still suck at intros, but don't worry, we'll get through this. We got a bit of a serious topic to talk about. I figured this should be a thing that should be brought up, because even though I'm sorry, I said your name, I'll censor that. Even though NightWolf, you don't post a lot of content, I see us both as people involved in the YouTube community.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with this story that's happening, I feel like we both can have our own opinions, or I feel like as someone or people in the YouTube community, I think it's something that we should also kind of share our opinions on and kind of help share the story. Whether if the outcome, luckily, will have a happy ending or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you who don't know, Etika is a live streamer and video game reviewer. I mean, I wouldn't fully call him a video game reviewer, but mostly he live streams his reactions to video games. Kind of think of it like he gets very energetic, very loud, and screams a lot. For a while, he's had a few mental breakdowns, and he's had a YouTube channel taken down. He's permanently banned from Twitch because I think he was streaming porn on either one of those accounts or both of them. That part I'm not totally sure. This last April, Etika did have a bit of a breakdown, and police did have to break open his door, and he happened to have live streamed the whole event, and he was put into a hospital for only 3 days or something, and not too long after, he punches a cop. So he's had a whole lot of stuff happen to him. But he had a video that was scheduled to come out as soon as the summer season started. He had a video release on June 21st at midnight. And he releases a video. From what I heard, because the video's taken down, it was an 8-minute long video, and he was described as being a bit off. But his description is what was concerning. Basically, from what I gathered from the description, it was pretty much a suicide letter. Now, at first when I heard this story and hearing some of these events that he's gone through, I thought that this was some kind of publicity stunt. And I did actually want to make a podcast episode on this for a while, but right before we start doing this episode, a article comes out from the New York Post with the headline, "Missing YouTubers' Personal Items Found Along Manhattan Bridge." And I happen to have just read the article, and it pretty much says that when police went through his apartment, some of his personal belongings were missing, and in the Manhattan Bridge, some of the things that they found that I can remember off the top of my head, even though I just read the article, a laptop, his Nintendo Switch, and one other thing on the Manhattan Bridge. And I don't want to sound negative, but I just hope he didn't happen to have jumped off the Manhattan Bridge, or I don't know. It's such a hard thing to really think about, because I don't know, because he's flipped out so much on his videos that it's basically his persona, but then at times it just seems like it becomes who he actually is. I don't know. There's just so much to digest.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to sound negative, but we're going to have to think half and half and understand that the worst possibility might have happened. That's just something we have to accept if it did. Not saying it did, you know what I mean?
That's the thing.
So
this is the kind of situation where even though those items on the Manhattan Bridge was all that was found, we don't have much to go on. And I mean, it sounds like a lot of information, and I'm pretty sure some people have closed the book and basically said, okay, well, that's it, Etika's dead. I'm just trying to be more optimistic, because I'm just thinking, yes, sadly, that is a possibility. But on the other hand, maybe this is some kind of publicity stunt. But at the same time, have police, like, my question is, I wonder, because I mean, like, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't understand looking through a switch that well. But I think if you open a laptop and go through it, could you determine if that was like a new laptop or
Did
something?
they find his phone?
I actually don't. I don't think they said that they found his. No, I know. I know what they found that I blanked out on. They found his wallet with his ID. I don't know how I blanked off on that one, but they did find his wallet. His driver's license was in there, along with pretty much all of his other cards.
Okay. Since this is a very serious topic, in my fair share of what's it called, as a side hobby, I like to like look at like missing persons cases and stuff, just as in something that intrigues me, because that's the side of life that like I really feel like people should be aware of. That
Yes.
sort of stuff does happen, and it does happen. It happened to some YouTuber that we all know, and I'm a casual kind of fan for Etika. I watched some of his reactions and thought he was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't seen much of his videos, but I've seen a few of his reactions when he made a new channel.
Yeah, and he was friends with a YouTuber I watched who's actually kind of in a weird situation right now too. His name is CND. He's kind of like been like going downhill. He stopped posting on his YouTube channel and like hasn't posted since. Due to like some like that's like a whole nother topic we could talk about later. But he's friends with Etika. He lives in New York as well, but I think he's somewhere down south or something. I watched a video on his situation. But for Etika, looking at the evidence, so the items they found, if a person goes missing, it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
Because I would tell you, to be honest with you, the wallet is like a very, very big indication.
Yes, of course.
Because hang on a second, I have to let my cat out of my room.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm currently dog sitting at the moment, and I got my pupper just laying on my bed.
Sorry about that. But as I was saying,
It's okay.
for Etika, usually when a person goes missing, you would need that kind of stuff with you, your ID, your cards and your money and stuff. But what's making me wonder is I'm going to assume right now, not to sound really grim,
Okay.
is that the police are probably checking what's it called, the
Manhattan Bridge.
What body of water is under the bridge?
I'm actually not too sure.
Can you look that up right now?
Yes, I was just about to Google it.
Because whatever body of water there is under there, they're probably going to be looking for a body. So if he did jump.
All right, it's loading my search result. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, if anything, with all those evidence that had been found on the Manhattan Bridge, it makes sense to check the body of water where the scene took place. Manhattan Bridge is a suspension bridge that crosses the East River in New York City.
So if they're gonna check the East River for his for a body, if they find the body, there's your answer.
Yeah.
But until then, if they can't find any remains, he's technically missing.
So there's still hope, but the evidence seemed grim.
Here's an interesting part.
Yes.
He left his wallet and ID,
Yes.
his laptop, and a switch
Yes. On the bridge.
on the bridge. There could be the possibility. We should also be thinking the possibility maybe Etika didn't commit suicide, but is trying to make us think that he did.
Yeah.
He's trying to go off the radar.
That's the thing. And that's the hard part too, because throughout some of his other breakdowns, I questioned it as maybe he is going through mental shit, but maybe he's trying to bring it on a level to promote himself, because I think many of us can relate to this idea where maybe it's like, oh, you got a new like subscriber on YouTube, or you got a new follower on Twitter, even though since that we're both smaller creators, just that one number going up can make us feel good about our content or whatever we say online. But someone with Etika, like, obviously, people in that range, or people who is known that well, he can gain like hundreds of followers a day, thousands of followers a day. And meanwhile, there could be channels like, well, other YouTubers talking about it, Keemstar talking about it on Drama Alert, and then more people are gonna come in, and it's almost like it's almost like a social media high.
Yeah.
And so, there is reason to believe there is a possibility he is doing this for more attention, but at the same time, this just seems even more off, because even going through that article, his brother, Etika's brother, which I think to some people hearing this, because
I'm not saying he's specifically. Sorry to cut you off.
Yes,
I'm not saying he's just to make my point more clear. I'm not saying he's doing this to make himself more popular, but maybe he is going through something in his personal life.
Yes.
That we don't know about, and we shouldn't know about, because that's not our business.
Yeah. What I meant to say was it was just a theory.
Okay, but what my theory is I'm saying that a possibility is that he doesn't want to be found. People do this who go missing all the time. Like, all those things that he left behind, his Switch, his wallet. Like, if he uses his credit card or any of his cards or something, they could track him.
Yes.
And track the activity.
Especially even like ATMs, like take pictures too.
Yeah. And the thing is, with his laptop, they could track that. With the Switch, they could track that, because those can connect to public Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But what makes me giving some glimmer of hope that he's still alive is that they didn't find his phone.
That's a good point. I did not fully think of that.
Which is really weird. So that's giving me the indication maybe he's making us think he committed suicide.
Because I will say this, I have not seen the Etika video that was taken down, but I've seen some screenshots of it, and it does seem like it was recorded from a smartphone. So he probably was up to something when he did this. And I know that when people have been saying that he made his video scheduled, that was a sign that this was fake. But at the same time, I do see how that theory can work. But you want to know what else can work with that situation?
What?
Because I mean, you don't have to be a big YouTuber to have the scheduled feature on your channel. I have it on my channel, and I have it on Pop Drop. It is a very easy thing to do, and what you could easily do, you could just make your video, schedule it, and before your video comes out, before that automatic deadline, you have so much time to prepare to leave, and then your video comes out, and then that's when people know that there's something wrong, and when they find it, it's too late. Even yeah. And from what I've gathered too, that seemed a bit odd, which this does also fall under to the theory that this is either a fake story or he maybe did break and run away. This is not a theory that leads more to suicide. But I mean, this piece might not be much, but Etika's brother, when some people may say like, oh, why aren't you using Etika's actual name? Because his name is now out there on the articles. I can't pronounce his first name too well, so I'm just going to call him Etika, just also because he's more known as Etika, so that's why I'm going to keep calling him by his username. His brother, his brother wants to stay anonymous, he said that he hasn't talked to Etika in over a year, and when he did talk to Etika, there was nothing off about him at all, and he did not even seem an ounce depressed. And I mean, he could be hiding it. Something, I mean, could have happened after that, but that could be a potential sign that it's fake, or maybe something happened. But the real kicker, which, I mean, credit to Keemstar from Drama Alert, he uncovered, basically, Etika was on Twitter, and he was like, probably might want to do a publicity stunt again. When would be a good time to do it? And one of the top results was, oh, June 21st, I'm out of school by then. And he responded to that comment basically agreeing to it. So...
Can you just clarify what you mean by, like, this whole thing could be fake? Like,
it seemed almost like he tried to get his subscribers a little bit involved to give him a date for his next publicity stunt.
Because I'm pretty sure this is real, because, like, they have, like, official, like, news articles that, like...
Yeah, I think it's real, But I'm just thinking, like, I'm more likely saying it more towards the people who believe that this is fake. But it also just seems a bit off. Because he did make those tweets.
I think he is actually missing because the police are looking for him.
I do believe he's missing. That part I can't deny, because what totally changed my demeanor was, seeing this tweet go viral from the NYPD giving this whole description of Etika. That's what
Right, so it
grabbed
is
my
the fact
attention.
that he is missing. So
Yes.
this is a real missing person's case.
Because obviously the NYPD isn't going to be like, isn't going to receive a call from Etika being like, hey man, do you want to get involved in my fake video? I'll give you clout. Like, no. So obviously the NYPD, even if someone even considers that, they're just going to be told to screw off.
I'm gonna tell you this: one way he could be definitely alive or closely to alive and shows that he didn't jump is if his phone pinged and they found that signal somewhere away from where the river is.
They found the signal.
They found his phone ping signal.
Okay. Wait, they actually did.
They didn't.
They did not. Okay.
I'm not saying that they did. I said if they did.
Okay. Yes.
That could be a sign. I'm saying that could be a sign if they did.
Now,
I have no word on that as of yet. So
yeah. Now, because I do like to. I will say this. Sometimes I do like to listen to mysterious stories, crime stories, or stories of people going missing as well. Now, I don't know if
I love to too, but they give me nightmares sometimes.
Sometimes they do. Yes, that's also fair. But now, I wonder, because I wonder if there's anything though that Etika can do that could block the signal. Because I'm just thinking, like, now that I mention it,
Destroy the phone.
he could destroy the phone, or I'm pretty sure he could also block it with like strong tinfoil to also block the ping signal, right?
Right.
Because blocking phone signals, I'm only including that part because it's surprisingly easy to actually block off a signal, because you could just simply wrap a phone in toilet paper.
Jax, be you fool. It's tinfoil, not toilet paper, you fucking moron.
And the signals can't go through the metal. It's almost like sound bouncing off a wall.
Right. But again, we'll have to see, because I don't know. I'm just saying, like, this kind of like that this is just a theory. Everything I said, I'm saying worst comes to worst, he's unfortunately deceased, which I'm hoping that isn't the case. But like, one thing that does help is that he's kind of famous.
Yeah.
So that does help, because like people like know his face, like know who he is.
Oh yeah.
So
especially like, I don't know how many followers his first channel had. Didn't his original channel have over 1 million subscribers?
Oh yes, he has a huge following, especially since he's friends with other YouTubers.
Here's what I want to also say too, real quick. The news media, I think, should have also because the news media did include that he did have a YouTube and Twitch channel that was taken down. Mm-hmm. But I think they should have also included that his YouTube channel had over 1 million subscribers, because some of the articles I read, they made it a huge deal where it's like YouTube personality with over 100,000 followers. He also has over 200,000 followers on Instagram with over 300,000 followers on Twitter. That would already be a suspicion on its own, because I think it would be kind of a bit of a I think it would be a bit more weird having a Twitter more popular than your YouTube if making videos is your whole thing. I know this detail is not a big deal, but I'm saying, I think if you include that detail, I'm only saying this because I'm wondering, how much will the story change if he still had his YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers? Will people take it more seriously, or will it be pretty much how it is right now?
Good point.
I've been thinking a lot about this, so that's kind of how I'm keeping the ball rolling better than I did last time you were on my podcast.
Yeah, you see, worst comes to worst, Etika's dead. I checked out his Twitter before. His last post seems to be on the 18th. His last tweet seems to be on the 18th. And what's it called? What day did he go missing?
He went missing yesterday.
Okay.
He went missing, but before anyone knew, his video released. And the YouTubers and internet personalities he was affiliated with, from what I heard from the Keemstar Twitter, he tried using everything in his power to pretty much get all these personalities to try to contact him, and he has not responded to a single person. Not even his own family. Well, I mean, we don't know too much about the family. I mean, we don't know if they know or if they're just like everyone else. I'm not going to talk about the family because I feel like since Etika is more of a public figure, let's focus on Etika and not his family at all.
Yeah, so just to finish on that note, not his family, but I'm saying there are two definite possibilities.
Yes.
Either the worst case scenario, he's dead, he committed suicide, or my theory is that, because the evidence kind of points to that, what I said. And I honestly, to be honest with you, think I might be onto something by saying that. I'm not trying to be egotistical. I'm just saying that's what the evidence is telling me.
I mean, you have good points.
So what you're telling me is that he doesn't want to be found. From what I've heard, he left all his personal items that could be tracked easily. You know, you're like probably thinking like, oh, his phone can be tracked, but you already answered that question before.
Yeah.
But what he could do. Maybe he wants to record some stuff with his phone.
Probably.
So
We don't know if he's, for all we know, you know, he
we
could
don't
have gotten rid of his phone somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's going off the radar. Maybe he wants to go ghost. And not be found. You know, people have done that before. Yeah, I don't know what's making him do this. You know, it could be a publicity stunt, or it could just be something in his personal life.
I mean, I genuinely do think it is a situation of mental health.
It probably is.
Because I'm not going to rule that out. Like, I do think, even if it is a publicity
It is. That's
stunt,
what I mean by like that's what I'm saying. Like personal life. You know.
Yeah.
So. Knowing people and knowing myself that suffers from depression and certain kinds of issues that like I kind of had thoughts of like just like running away and like going ghost out the radar. Like, and I've known people that have had those same kind of problems.
Yes.
I would personally never do it because that's, it was just a thought I had, not something I ever acted on. But like, I'm saying that as like, because this is a serious subject and I'm being real.
Yeah.
I've known people that like have wanted to do that, and
I have too.
And knowing that from experience, I'm saying that he's either unfortunately no longer with us, or he went off the radar and he does not want to be found.
I mean, if anything,
so I honestly think
do is hope he's safe.
Yeah, I know, and I'm gonna go with that he doesn't want to be found, because that is where the evidence apparently is pointing to, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna stick with that. So, because that gives me more hope. That gives me more hope that he's not dead, and that he's safe. At least he's alive. I mean, because he obviously went missing on his own accord, right?
Yeah, that's the part that confuses me with the story, I think, most of all.
When people go missing, it's either they're kidnapped or they go missing on their own accord. So he went missing on his own accord because there's evidence pointing to that as well. So
yeah, and just if anything, say if he is found, like I can't believe when he had his first breakdown. Well, not first breakdown, but the breakdown he had around April. I am just still surprised at how he was in the hospital. And everyone was like, okay, it's a relief. He's getting the help he needs. And it's like a few days later, he's just kind of like, hey, I'm back. Like, he should have been in there. Like, I've never been hospitalized before. I've known some people who've been hospitalized, but they don't like to talk about it. So I, don't want to make them uncomfortable. But I would assume 3 days, wouldn't that be kind of short?
Yeah, I agree. There's just one thing I don't get.
What is it?
If he left the items he left, why didn't anyone take them?
Like, maybe it was put... Like, 'cause I read the article. It didn't say where on the bridge these items were found. For all we know, he probably, like, I don't know, like, just put them somewhere where you couldn't easily see them. And maybe a bystander found them and was like, hey, there's just all this stuff here. Should probably report this to the police. Or maybe the person wanted to be anonymous.
No, but when someone take these though, they saw these, like.
I mean, yeah, I think that is something that we should all kind of consider. But I mean, it was, like I said, it was probably put in a position, or it was probably maybe cleverly placed. So you almost had to like accidentally glance and see it. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be on the bridge. I probably have been on the bridge, but it's been a long time since I actually was there. But I could assume maybe it was either on one end of the bridge, another end of the bridge, or maybe somewhere on the bridge, you know? Like, it didn't say where.
That's something they should have clarified.
And I mean, maybe there's another article that might sum it up, but the one that I read, it didn't say where. It just said that these items were found on the bridge. And I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, just with what one of my suggestions that I had earlier was with this electronic stuff. I wonder if people have actually, like, specifically hoping the NYPD, if they've ever turned this stuff on and we're just like, oh, look at that, I opened up Google Chrome and he's logged into his YouTube channel. Or, hey, look, I turned on the switch and the account username on it says Etika on it. Or whatever username he has on it. Or if it was just, oh, this laptop hasn't been turned on before. Or, hey, this switch, it has no accounts tied to it. Like, they were propped up for a stunt.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird. I have many questions. I honestly feel like they should release more information to just make it more clear.
I mean, I understand that perspective, but at the same time, I feel like it's such a confusing topic that I think I wonder if the NYPD, whether if they know something else or not, or if they're just telling us everything they know. Say if they are hiding details, I think it's just because
they probably are. Police usually do that. It's honestly a very shitty thing to do.
I mean, I think it depends what they hide. Because maybe for all we know, say if someone was influencing him.
No. It's not that. It's just because, like, police have done that before. I can tell you that with other cases. So, like, they're definitely hiding stuff, and, like, there's stuff that they're not telling us.
Or maybe they just want to wait to confirm something.
Well, usually police, like, I mean, they hide stuff all the time. I mean, police aren't, I'm not anti-cop, but I'm just saying, like for cases, like, they don't release everything, whether if it's good for good or other intentions, or if they're not sure about something, they always hide certain things that, like, people should know.
Okay.
So, and police, I could tell you a whole bunch of cases, but I'm not going to go into that right now because they're pretty bad and messed up cases. But
yeah, I understand.
Back to what Etika. Again, I'm just gonna have to stick with what I said is that it's 50-50.
Yes,
we won't know until we get updates. So if there's some things I don't understand, we'll still have to see.
All right. And while we're still on the podcast, just to make anything clear, in case if someone listening to this is like, oh, well, hold on, there's been a new development. Just to make this clear, this is currently being recorded on June 22nd right now it is almost 10:30 p.m. So, wanted to make that part clear, when this episode is coming out. While editing this episode of the podcast, the only update I did come across was that Etika's phone actually was recently discovered along with the other stuff that he left on the Manhattan Bridge. So with that piece of evidence discovered, the odds of this story having a sad ending is more likely what happened. So I guess we should kind of wrap it up, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this has been the JaxCast. There's still so many confusing things to really think about the Etika situation. If you guys have been watching the YouTube version or video version of the podcast, I have just because mental health is a serious topic, I'm not a professional. I'm not qualified to share anything about mental health problems, but what I can do to at least help, if you have been at least seeing the video version of the JaxCast, I have the suicide prevention hotline number on the screen, And if you're listening on to an audio exclusive service, I'll be sure to put the number in the description. And thank you again for NightWolf for coming onto the podcast. I'll leave a link to his social media down below. And I guess to end off with a little bit more optimism, I have no current date of this yet, but the next episode of the JaxCast is going to be with Nightwolf Den once again, and this is not going to be a sad news topic or current event, but it's just going to be a genuine sit down and just let's share a discussion kind of topic. So, be on the lookout for that. Is there anything else you wanna say, Nightwolf?
No, I pretty much clarified everything I want to say.
Okay.
So.
Then, yeah, well, thank you guys for listening to the JaxCast. This is just, I don't even know how to properly really end such a serious topic like this. I guess I'm just going to end it off with this. Whether Etika is fine, has passed away, or whatever situation happens in the end, we at least hope nothing but positivity in the end. I'm sorry, this is just so hard for me to think of a proper ending. I guess just the best thing to do is just wait and hope.